Someone has never forgotten you. Even with the distance, your name still echoes in their thoughts. The memories, the moments, everything remains alive within a heart that, no matter how hard it tried, could never erase you. Now, fate opens a new door. Do you feel it? Something is about to happen. Are you ready for this chance? Time has passed, but nothing could erase what was left behind. The routine went on. Other stories unfolded, but deep down something remained there untouched. Someone may have tried to move on, but certain connections cannot be broken by simply deciding to forget. You feel it too, don't you? It's no coincidence that fate is bringing signs now. Little details have started to appear, memories coming back unexpectedly. That strange feeling that something is about to happen. It could be a song playing at just the right moment, a scent that awakens memories, a situation that brings back feelings that seemed buried. This is not mere chance, this is life showing that something is still incomplete. And maybe pride spoke too loudly in the past. Perhaps there was fear, insecurity, doubts. But what about now? What truly stands in the way of this story having a new chance? What still needs to be said, understood, resolved? Because deep down, absence does not mean forgetfulness. Perhaps it was silence that prevented reconnection. Or maybe it was a misunderstanding that was never clarified. But there's one undeniable truth. If even after everything this feeling is still alive, then it has never stopped existing. And if it has never stopped existing, why ignore it? Paths are not always linear. Sometimes you need to get lost to understand the value of what you once had. Sometimes you need to confront longing, to recognize that certain people cannot be replaced. And now that chance is here. There may not be another. It could be the last opportunity to rebuild what was interrupted. The question is, will you ignore this call, or will you face what you really feel? There is no room for doubt anymore. The feeling is still there, lingering, just waiting for a step to come back to life. Pretending that you don't feel it, avoiding the obvious, only prolongs something that deep down has already been decided within you. Time teaches, but it also demands. How many times have you ignored the impulse to send a message? How many sleepless nights have been filled with memories that stubbornly resurfaced? How many times have you tried to convince yourself that it was all in your head, only to realize that this absence weighs more than it should? What if none of this were a coincidence? What if this moment arrived precisely because now you're ready to face everything head-on? The wounds of the past, the unsaid words, the decisions that once seemed right, but now make no sense. All of this can still be transformed. But time doesn't wait. Each choice leads down a path, and ignoring this opportunity may mean letting go of something that will never return. Do you really want to carry that regret? Or would you prefer to allow yourself, take a risk and discover what might happen? The decision is in front of you, but thinking alone won't help. It's time to take action. Destiny has already played its part. It brought the signs, made the memories resurface, reignited feelings that never truly died. Now, the choice is yours. Will you ignore what your heart is screaming, or will you finally muster the courage to do what you've always wanted? Fear may whisper that it's too late, that some things don't come back, that too much time has already passed. But is that really true? If it were too late, why does this feeling still burn so brightly? If it was really over, why does the memory still weigh heavily on your heart? The truth is that certain connections don't break, no matter how much time passes, no matter how life takes us in different directions. And when fate offers a new chance, ignoring it is the worst choice you can make. How many more times will you pretend you don't feel anything? How many nights will you lie in bed wondering what if? What if you had tried? What if you had said everything that got stuck in your throat? What if there's still a way back? The only way to find out is to do something now. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not when you find the perfect courage, because that courage never comes alone. It has to be forced, it has to be wrested from fear and placed in front of doubt. If you still feel it, why not admit it? If you still desire it, why not try? It doesn't help to wait for life to solve things for you. Destiny can open doors, but it's up to you to walk through them. What will you do now? Time doesn't turn back. Every lost moment is a weight that sooner or later turns into regret. And the worst kind of regret isn't for what was said, but for what you never had the courage to say. How many times have you found yourself reliving moments that are already in the past? How many times have you mentally rehearsed a conversation that never happened? Pretending to forget never worked, and it won't work now. Because when something is real, it stays, it bothers, it insists. And deep down, you know this story isn't over yet. Pride has always been a barrier. The fear of seeming weak, of showing feelings, of exposing yourself. But what matters more? Keeping a wall of pride or making room for the truth? Moving on as if you never cared, or having the courage to admit what has always been obvious? Life doesn't usually hand out second chances easily. When it does, it's because there's still something to be lived. The question is, will you continue to let time pass, or will you face this truth once and for all? There are no more excuses. There's no more time for delays. What needs to be done has to be done now, because one day it might be too late. So are you going to keep waiting, or are you going to take action? Waiting changes nothing. Time doesn't heal what was never resolved. It just buries deeper what inevitably always resurfaces. You know this. You know because you've tried to ignore it, pretended to move on, convinced yourself it was better this way. But here you are again, feeling, remembering, wanting. What if it's now or never? What if this is your last chance to do things differently? Can you live with that doubt? Can you bear the weight of knowing you could have done something but didn't? It's no longer about coincidences or chance. Everything points to the same place. What else needs to happen for you to realize? The answers you seek aren't in silence, they aren't in waiting, they aren't in time. They're within you, in the choice you still have not had the courage to make. The truth is, it was never about fate. It was always about attitude. You feel it, you know it, but you're afraid. Afraid of not being reciprocated, afraid of exposing yourself, afraid of hearing what you don't want. But what about the fear of never trying? The fear of going through life asking, what if? That's the fear that should scare you, so stop delaying. The only thing standing between you and this story is your decision. The question is, what will you do now? There's no more room for hesitation. What needs to be done is right in front of you, just waiting for an action. Because in the end, it's not the unspoken words that hurt the most, but the awareness that you had a chance and chose to waste it. Silence has never brought answers. Distance has never erased what remains. Pretending you don't feel doesn't make the feeling any smaller. It only makes it heavier, more difficult to ignore. And now, faced with this new opportunity, there's only one question left. Will you keep running away, or will you finally confront the truth? Pride has held you back for too long. It caused you to stay silent when you should have spoken up. It pushed you away when you should have held on tight. But now, what matters more? Keeping that pride intact, or reclaiming what truly matters? There's no guarantee that everything will go as you wish. There never is. But there's one absolute certainty. If you do nothing, nothing will change. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, it will never arrive. And one day when you look back, you'll realize that the biggest mistake wasn't what you said, but what you never had the courage to say. The decision is yours, but time won't wait. So, what will it be? Will you continue to postpone or finally take the step that could change everything? There are no more excuses. What needs to be done is clear. You feel it, you know it. But how long will you keep ignoring it? Time moves on, opportunities slip away, and life won't stop to wait for you to find the courage. The fear of making a mistake can never be greater than the desire to try. Because making mistakes is part of it, but never knowing is a burden you will carry forever. Have you ever imagined looking back and realizing you had the chance to change everything, but chose silence instead? Have you imagined discovering too late that the other person was also waiting for you? Pride, fear, doubts. All of this has held you back for far too long. But now the decision is in front of you. There are no guarantees, but one thing is certain. If you stay still, nothing will change. You need to choose between the uncertainty of trying or the certainty of regret. And the truth is, deep down, you already know the answer. So what will it be? Another day of postponing the inevitable, or the moment when everything changes? The choice is before you. Standing still means accepting absence, living with uncertainty, allowing time to take away something that still pulses inside you. Moving forward without fighting is the same as admitting that it never mattered enough, and you know that isn't true. How many more times will you ignore the signs? How long will you pretend that you don't feel, that you don't think, that you don't want? Fate opened this door, but it won't keep it open forever. You can walk in or turn your back, but later it won't do you any good to look back and regret what you didn't have the courage to do. It may be difficult. The answer may not be what you expect. But what if it is? What if everything you desire is just waiting for you to take a single step? Do you really want to risk never knowing? Time doesn't forgive. It takes away chances, wears down feelings, weakens bonds. But right now there is still time. This opportunity still exists, and it didn't come by chance. The only thing missing is your decision. So, what will it be? Fear or truth? Doubt or action? Regret or attempt? The answer is in your hands, but not for long. Each passing second is a choice. Choosing not to act is already a decision in itself. But is it the right decision? What's harder, facing fear and taking risks, or spending the rest of your life wondering what could have happened? You've made it this far. You've felt it. You've understood that this isn't over. And if something still lives inside you, it's because it needs to be resolved. Hiding behind excuses won't help. Waiting for time to do the work that only you can do. Time doesn't fix things. It simply puts them to sleep. But feelings don't just disappear. They come back when you least expect it. Life rarely gives a second chance. Now, it has placed the opportunity to rewrite this story before you, but no one can take that step for you. Fate opens paths, but it's up to you to walk them. If you do nothing, you might one day discover that this feeling still existed on the other side. You may realize that all it took was one action to change everything, but by then, it will be too late. So, this is the last question you need to answer. What will hurt more? The uncertainty of trying or the certainty of never knowing? Time doesn't wait. Neither should you. Time moves forward, dragging everything with it. If you don't act now, this opportunity may slip through your fingers and never come back, because, contrary to what many believe, not everything in life finds its way back. Some doors, once closed, never open again. And do you know what happens next? Regret becomes an unbearable weight. The questions that could have answers today turn into eternal uncertainties. You might even try to bury that feeling, but it will never be completely silenced. So, ask yourself honestly, what is really holding you back? What matters more? Pride or truth? Fear or possibility? If you still feel, if you still think, if you still desire, then why deny yourself this chance? You can wait another day, another week, another year. But life does not mold itself to your hesitations. It follows its course, and those who lack the courage to keep up get left behind. So, what will it be? A step forward, or another day hiding from what you've always known? The choice is now. Time does not forgive. Time does not forgive, does not wait, does not offer guarantees. It simply moves on, taking away all the chances that once seemed certain. And you? Will you stay still, watching this opportunity fade away, or will you finally do something before it's too late? Every day that passes without action is one less day to change this story. You might try to convince yourself that everything is fine as it is, that you don't need to act, that time will resolve everything. But deep down, you know that's not true. Because if it were, you wouldn't be here now, feeling, remembering, wanting. So, what's still holding you back? Fear of the answer? Pride? Doubt? None of that is stronger than the pain of regret. Life has a cruel way of showing us what truly matters, and almost always it's when there's no turning back. If this feeling still exists, it's because it has a purpose. If this person still invades your thoughts, it's because something needs to be resolved. Pretending you don't see it, that you don't feel it, that you don't care. None of that changes anything. It only postpones the inevitable. And when that moment is gone, there will be nothing left to do. All that will remain is the question that will haunt you forever. What if? You stand at your last chance. Will you seize it or let it slip away? Time doesn't wait. The decision is yours. Time is passing and you know it. Every second of indecision is a wasted opportunity, a chance that may never come back. What are you waiting for? For destiny to decide for you? For pride to disappear on its own? For fear to simply vanish? That won't happen. If this feeling still lives in you, it's because something needs to be done. You can ignore it, pretend it doesn't matter, but deep down the truth remains. This story isn't over yet, and if you don't act now, it might be too late. So, choose. Choose between staying trapped in fear or taking the step that could change everything. The regret of not trying will be greater than any answer you might receive. Silence has never brought solutions, only more doubts. The time has come. Grab your phone, send that message, do what needs to be done, before time takes this chance away forever. If this message resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like and comment. I'm not going to let time decide for me. Let's talk about it.